Dragon Ball is one of the most well-known Japanese anime out there. You can say it's the definitive shonen martial arts animated show to this day. Dragon Ball as a whole has been running since the mid-80s and is still going strong to this day. Hell, some may say that its power level is only getting higher with the hype of the newest movie based on the Dragon Ball Super series subtitled Broly, making them canon officially by the creators themselves. Although we had two other Broly movies based in the Dragon Ball Z series that are non-canon because you can't actually have a stable timeline that has both the Z series and the movies colliding all at once. And no, I am not counting Bio Broly because Bio Broly is a hot piece of garbage. But I digress. Speaking of the Dragon Ball Z series, it was actually a series that most fans of this series started with. I was most definitely one of them who did, so it was understandable to see a load of games based on that franchise, especially when it comes to the fighting game genre. Dragon Ball Z Budokai was what brought the excitement in for bringing the anime to 3D, with the voice actors that played the characters from the show, the sound effects we all know and love, as well as the flashy special moves. The game was originally released back in 2002 and had a remaster a whole decade later in 2012, bundled with Budokai 3 for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. There were a total of 3 other sequels with a similar moniker, with each one feeling closer to the anime. And as I'm talking about getting closer to the anime, just last year in January, we got Dragon Ball FighterZ that actually feels as intense as the anime it is based on. It's ridiculous how far we have come to get to this point. Before I get any farther, let's go back real quick to what began the hype in the 6th generation of consoles and see the progress that has been made in a more traditional sense, to use that term lightly. We are actually going to be taking a look at the Dragon Ball Z Budokai series, the console games for the most part. Budokai was definitely a game that appealed more to the fans of the show and not so much catered to fighting game fans. Around December 2002, we already had a handful of games for the fighting genre on the PlayStation 2. The likes of Tekken 4 and Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance were already there, and then there was also Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution. Yeah, you remember the Virtua Fighter series? Anyway, all of these games were already out by this time. If you were a frequent patron of the arcade, Soul Calibur 2 was even out as well, so what was the point of having Dragon Ball? Well, if you were a fan of the show, that would be the only reason you would pick up a copy. It has everything, the moves, the sound effects, music that accompanies the action very well. It even has a retelling of the story from the beginning of the Saiyan saga up to the end of the Android saga with the final battle against Cell, which leaves us with a total of 23 playable characters across the story. What it kinda lacked was the gameplay, which is pretty bare bones. All the flashy and recognizable moves were locked behind a button combo and it didn't really flow all that well. For example, a Kamehameha or the Gallic Gun can only be performed once you press the punch button 4 times and press the energy button right after. Still, even with all this, it is satisfying to execute tougher combo techniques like Spirit Bomb and Final Flash in all of its glory and doing tons of damage. Physical commands that will allow you to either do a high-speed auto combo or something as basic as throwing your opponent, and equipment to give a slight edge in battle. With that, we have just labeled all 3 different capsule types. Abilities such as Kamehameha and Spirit Bomb, physical commands, and equipment. This goes directly into what is called the custom option that allows players to play with a 7-slot skill tray, using a mix of abilities to suit your playstyle. Earning capsules can be done by either playing the story mode or by purchasing them in the shop with the Zenny earned from the World Tournament Arena, where you'll have to fight a consecutive amount of opponents just to get a grand prize depending on the difficulty selected. Now, there's 2 issues here. 1. Assuming you're playing 2 players, this requires both players to have the save file of the game on 2 separate memory cards to access this, which sucks. And 2. The shop from where you purchase the capsules allow you to purchase a type of capsule and are presented with a random capsule from that category. There is no guarantee what kind of capsule you're getting from each one. Granted, there is a recommended option that will present you with a specific capsule, but if you're looking for one that you really want or need, say I'm looking for Warp Kamehameha for Goku, that's not guaranteed unless if you just loves grinding and hitting that ability capsule every single time. Unless if you just decide to go in and out of the shop, search for the recommended, and see if Warp Kamehameha even comes up. This just brings a grind to a whole new level, especially for a fighting game. Other than that, there's not much to offer.
Oh.
Come on, use your head.
Oh? Oh! Oh no! Oh no, John! No! You're lying to me! You're fucking with me! This is a joke! This is a sick, cruel joke! No!
The sequels will take this formula and only add upon it, improving the mechanics to reach greater potential and reducing the grind to exponential amounts. Budokai 2 was released the following December in 2003. It was around this time that the anime feel was taking shape with an original animated intro and theme song, darkened outlines to show details with a glossy look, and more cinematic looking attacks. The story now goes on to the Majin Buu saga, but still starts back in the Saiyan saga. This leads to increasing the roster size to 29 playable characters, including the likes of Supreme Kai and all 3 forms of Buu. The choice in characters wasn't the only thing that grew. New abilities were added as well to keep it in line with the events of the story. So now we had Goku and Super Saiyan 3, the fusion of Goten and Trunks Gotenks, the different absorption states of Super Buu, and even Majin Vegeta. Speaking of skills, the signature moves like Gallic Gun had been simplified by pressing forward in the energy button, or back in the energy button for attacks like Destructo Disc as well. Since now characters are rocking 2 attacks in their arsenal, you'll have an input for each one as an easy way. You can still perform them in a combo structure like the last game, and actually feels smoother to perform. Along with that, the damage also feels more rewarding. The ultimate moves such as Big Bang Attack are now a bit involved, in which you have to quickly rotate both joysticks faster than your opponent. Depending on who wins will determine the amount of damage done. The 7-slot skill tray was still a thing for the custom option. Now both players can use this option under a single memory card, and you can edit the skill tray in the character select screen as well, making emergency tweaks to your playstyle on the fly. The shop has definitely improved by allowing you to purchase a specific capsule with the respective categories, but what becomes available is random and is based on the characters currently available. An overall improvement from the first game, with even more room to become something greater. And that was exactly what went down for the next sequel. Budokai 3 came out 11 months later in November 2004. The game took what was already established and improved on the formula to create a gameplay experience that felt like the source material. We're talking about smoother combo strings, quick dodging on the spot, a vanishing counter, vanishing chasing, and the Dragon Rush, a universal 3-part attack that looks like something straight out of the actual DBZ fight. The story remains as Budokai 2, up to the Majin Buu arc, now with the what-if scenarios like fighting against Broly instead of Buu as part of the story, and a few nods to Dragon Ball GT like the Super Saiyan 4 transformations. Having these newcomers brings the total amount of characters to a whopping 38 playable fighters, not counting fusions, all of which had much relevance to the show and can lead to some very interesting matchups. The skill tray and shop remains the same, but the capsules had a slight revision. The physical capsules were completely removed, meaning grabs are now a natural move, and item capsules were put in to use in the middle of battle, like using a senzu bean to recover health or items that will give a temporary buff. Now, this is an odd addition, seeing that this was the only game to do this until Xenoverse, but Budokai 3 gives characters stat values when playing the story mode or Dragon Arena. Each time a character levels up, you can place a skill point into a particular feature like more health or stronger key attacks, and will provide you a generated code that will be that distinct version of the character at hand to play against. Up to that point, when people wanted to play a Dragon Ball game, they were most definitely referring to the superior Budokai 3. With its smooth gameplay and the addition to Vanish Counter lets the game be fast, interesting, and fun all around. Unfortunately, we wouldn't be getting another game in this style for a while. This was when the Tenkaichi series came in, starting around 2005 and 2 sequels following that from 2006 and 2007. With more of a free movement arena style gameplay to stay within its anime form, and to this day, thanks to the Xenoverse games and other anime titles, we still have that kind of gameplay style. However, we did get PSP games that were similar to the Budokai series, known as Shin Budokai, originally released in March 2006, and its sequel Shin Budokai Another World in 2007. Fun titles, but it was difficult to play with friends due to it only being on the PSP, and the Nintendo DS was being more of a better option. With the 7th generation of consoles in the market, a new generation of DBZ games was forthcoming. In June 2008, Dragon Ball Z Burst Limit hit store shelves and made a return to the gameplay similar to the Budokai series. It's more in tune with the Shin Budokai games, so if you played those, you already know what you're getting yourself into. Little did we know that we would get one more Budokai game. Dragon Ball Z Infinite World was released in December 2008, only 6 months after the HD Dragon Ball game arrived, and was released on the PS2 for those who couldn't play Burst Limit. Unfortunately, it got hit with mixed to unfavorable reviews, stating that the game itself was lacking and the story mode was just too long to go through. As someone who didn't know what video game review sites were, I picked up a copy reading the back of the box as the best in the Budokai series, and was like, sweet mother of Shenron, I need this now. One transaction and several hours with friends had me enjoying the life out of this game. I didn't think it was possible to make the gameplay feel even smoother than its predecessor and adding more GT and movie reps, bringing the total number of characters to 42. I couldn't have asked for anything else out of a fighting game. This game combined what Budokai 3 accomplished, added a few mechanics from the Shin Budokai and Burst Limit games, and created a somewhat of a hybrid that keeps its familiar roots and yet still manages to feel fresh and great to play. All characters now had some sort of ultimate move, where a good number of them are done on the spot, or wouldn't require any sort of struggle. Some of these, like Kid Goku Super Kamehameha, look so well done that it's one of my favorite ultimates in the game. The story now includes a few GT segments along with the main story, and they throw in a lot of fights at you to match the events. The skill tree has been organized for each custom character to have one ultimate move, 2 supers, 1 item, and 4 abilities, allowing players to apply enhancers without worrying about space limitations. The shop itself now contains every single capsule available for purchase based on a player's progress in the story mode. Hands down, best changes in the game with the RNG disposed of. My biggest gripe with this game was the implementation of the fatigue meter. Think of it like Street Fighter stun gauge, and it's just as annoying when it's full. Fatigue increases as you're being attacked or do any defensive tactics like vanish counters. But there is no way from my experience to lower your fatigue and just becomes a literal game of don't get hit. Still, even with this issue, this can be overlooked since in fighting games it's all about how you adapt to certain situations from happening and finding a way to inflict a punishment on your foes like a DBZ character would. Infinite World was a hefty anime fighter that holds its own with gameplay that was deeper than it may appear, and was the last Budokai game that will ever be released, ending the series we all know and love. What Budokai did for the Z series, the recent games like Xenoverse and Fighters are doing the exact same thing for including Dragon Ball Super into it, and did the job well. There is no reason to go back to the Budokai series, but for those wanting to give them a whirl, you should play either Budokai 3 via the HD collection on the PS3 and 360, or Infinite World, which is only on PlayStation 2, which I believe is a superior game, as these will hold your interest more than the former 2 games. Hell, Budokai 1 is on the collection as well, so for those who is morbidly curious, go right ahead, just don't expect much out of it. As long as there is a new series for Goku and pals, a video game depicting their travels will more than likely follow suit. As a fan of the series, I can only wait and see what will be in store after the Broly movie comes out, and that will be the start of a new journey for every single Dragon Ball fan out there, with a new digital world for us to experience. Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please click that thumbs up or give me a like, whatever you like to call it, and let me know in the comments what you think about the video. I am going to try to make more videos as time goes on. It is going to be a little bit hectic, but I will do my best to succeed. I hope to see you all next time.